It began with smoke on the horizon, and a silence so heavy, even the birds stopped singing. No one could have known that behind that old farmhouse, a bond was about to be tested in the fire. Quite literally. But what would make a battle-scarred dog willingly run into the flames again? And what did he leave behind in the ash the first time? Before we begin, let us know where you're listening from. Whether it's a quiet kitchen, a late-night walk, or somewhere far from home, we're glad you're here. And if this kind of story speaks to you, don't forget to subscribe, so you'll never miss a tale that just might heal something inside. The storm had finally quieted, leaving behind a heavy silence that clung to every corner of Green Ridge Animal Shelter. Scout lay motionless inside his cage, his damp fur still shivering slightly from the chill of the rain, eyes gazing blankly at the cement floor beneath him. He was a German shepherd, around 4 years old, with deep sable fur flecked with black and tan, now dull from neglect. Scout was not aggressive, not fearful, just profoundly weary, as if hope had long slipped through his paws like water through sand. Outside the shelter, Nathan Reynolds stepped down from his old red pickup truck, pausing to steady himself as memories surged like waves against his chest. Nathan was a broad-shouldered man, 38, with dark hair peppered prematurely by gray. His face bore the rugged lines of someone who had seen more than his share of tragedy, eyes gentle yet shadowed by grief. Once a courageous firefighter, he'd left the department after losing his wife and young daughter in a house fire 3 years ago. Ever since, he'd lived quietly on the edge of town, seeking solitude, his heart wrapped in layers of quiet sorrow. Today, something unspoken had drawn him here, to this place of second chances and broken dreams. The shelter doors creaked softly as Nathan stepped inside, the air heavy with a mix of antiseptic and damp fur. Rows of cages lined the walls, each holding an animal whose story was etched into their quiet, pleading eyes. Nathan walked slowly, almost hesitantly, as if each step stirred memories he was desperate to keep buried. At the farthest corner, Scout barely raised his head at Nathan's approach, but something intangible pulled Nathan closer. He stopped and knelt down beside the cage, searching the dog's distant eyes, finding in them an echo of his own sadness. Scout looked up, holding Nathan's gaze steadily, neither hopeful nor wary, just quietly resigned, as if he had long since stopped waiting for someone to see him. A gentle cough behind Nathan made him turn. It was Julie, a young volunteer with bright eyes and a hopeful smile, holding a clipboard. "His name is Scout," she said softly, nodding towards the dog. "He was found in that old abandoned house on Pine Street, trapped by the storm. Poor guy's been through a lot." Nathan nodded slowly, not taking his eyes off Scout. The dog shifted slightly, exhaling softly, a sound somewhere between relief and exhaustion. "Does he have anyone coming for him?" Nathan asked quietly, already sensing the answer. Julie shook her head gently, sadness flickering across her face. "No, you're the first person who's even paused here since he arrived. Most folks prefer younger dogs, puppies. But Scout, he's special, you know. There's something about him. It's like he's been waiting for someone specific." Nathan felt a tightness form in his chest. He knew the feeling too well, the endless wait for someone who would never come back. His eyes softened further as he regarded Scout, feeling a fragile connection bloom between them. "Could you open the cage for me, please?" he asked, his voice barely more than a whisper. Julie unlocked the cage slowly, and Scout lifted his head cautiously, ears flattening slightly but eyes still gentle. Nathan stretched out a careful hand, palm open. Scout hesitated, sniffed gently, and then placed his head carefully into Nathan's palm, breathing softly as if entrusting him with a secret. Nathan felt his throat tighten, his vision blurred momentarily by unshed tears. "He needs someone," Julie whispered softly behind him, almost reverently. Nathan nodded, not daring to speak just yet. He knew Scout needed more than just someone, Scout needed him. But perhaps, more than anything, Nathan realized he needed Scout. A few moments later, paperwork signed with trembling fingers, Nathan led Scout gently out of the shelter towards the old red pickup. The dog walked slowly, cautiously, as if afraid this tentative promise might vanish at any second. But when Nathan opened the passenger door, Scout looked up, hesitated briefly, and then leaped in with a quiet determination that spoke louder than any bark. Nathan climbed into the driver's seat and rested his hands quietly on the steering wheel, breathing deeply. He looked sideways, gently whispering, "You're safe now, Scout. You're coming home." Scout turned his head slightly, acknowledging Nathan's voice with a quiet gaze, as if silently promising they'd both find their way forward, together. As Nathan opened the old screen door to his modest home, Scout stood quietly at his side, eyes wide with cautious uncertainty. The warm glow of the fireplace flickered gently through the window, casting soft shadows across the porch. Scout paused, his muscles tensing visibly at the sight of the dancing flames. Nathan knelt beside him, gently placing a comforting hand upon Scout's thick fur, speaking softly, "It's all right, buddy. Nothing will hurt you here." Scout hesitated briefly, then slowly stepped forward, trusting Nathan enough to follow inside, though his body remained taut, ears pinned back. Days passed quietly, each filled with small efforts to make Scout feel at home. But despite Nathan's patient attempts, Scout remained distant, wary. Every loud noise, from a door slamming to the distant crackle of fireworks from neighbors celebrating, caused Scout to recoil instinctively, retreating into the shadows. Nathan watched him carefully, his heart aching with compassion. Each sudden reaction told a painful story, a past Nathan could only guess at. But despite Scout's anxiety, the gentle patience in Nathan's voice gradually became an anchor Scout clung to, even as he trembled. One chilly afternoon, Nathan decided to clean out the old shed in his backyard, a place filled with equipment he hadn't touched in years. As he pulled open the heavy wooden door, revealing dusty helmets, jackets, hoses, and sirens, all reminders of his life as a firefighter, Scout froze behind him, ears erect, his body stiff with alertness. Nathan turned, noticing immediately how Scout seemed fixated by the worn gear. With slow, deliberate movements, Scout approached a faded helmet lying on the floor, nudging it softly with his nose, whining quietly as if recalling a distant memory. "You recognize this, don't you?" Nathan asked gently, his voice barely above a whisper. Scout responded by turning his large, soulful eyes toward Nathan, filled with an intensity Nathan had not seen before. It was a look of recognition, mingled with deep, silent grief. Nathan's chest tightened as realization dawned upon him. Scout had once served others, had once rushed bravely into danger, just like him. Their scars, though invisible, were painfully alike. That evening, the clouds thickened overhead, bringing a storm that rattled the windows with fierce gusts of wind. Rain fell heavily, pattering insistently against the roof, and distant thunder rumbled ominously. Scout paced nervously, his breathing quickening as flashes of lightning briefly illuminated the darkened room. Nathan tried soothing him, reaching out, speaking softly, but Scout's fear escalated, driving him beneath the kitchen table, where he curled tightly, shivering uncontrollably. As another loud crack of thunder resonated through the house, Scout let out a sudden panicked bark, knocking over a chair in his frantic movement. The sharp crash of wood on tile startled Nathan, plunging him suddenly into memories he'd fought to suppress. In an instant, Nathan's mind was engulfed by images of smoke, flames roaring like demons, the desperate cries of his family trapped within a blazing house he couldn't save. His vision blurred, his heart pounding painfully in his chest, breaths ragged and shallow. Yet amidst this torment, Nathan felt something warm pressing insistently against his trembling hands. Blinking away tears, he realized Scout had come to him, leaning closely, offering comfort despite his own fear. Nathan embraced him gently, burying his face into Scout's thick fur, whispering apologies for the past he couldn't change, and promises of a future where they would both heal together. Scout stayed motionless, absorbing Nathan's quiet sorrow, their shared pain forming a bond that began to quietly bridge the gap of fear and distrust. As the storm gradually subsided, leaving behind only gentle rain tapping softly against the windows, Nathan slowly regained his composure, breathing deeply, calmer now. Scout rested beside him, quiet but attentive, as if silently affirming that together, Perhaps their invisible scars could finally begin to mend. Nathan gently stroked Scout's fur, murmuring, "Thank you, Scout. Thank you for finding me tonight." Scout lifted his head slightly, eyes softening as he laid his chin back upon Nathan's knee, a quiet acknowledgement that trust was beginning to take root between them, born from the raw, shared vulnerability of that stormy night. After that stormy night, Nathan understood that Scout's recovery would require more than quiet reassurance and gentle words. Determined, Nathan began taking Scout to Paws Forward, a local therapy center specializing in helping rescue animals heal from emotional trauma. The center was run by Dr. Emily Carter, a kind-hearted veterinarian in her early 40s, known for her soft voice and patient manner. Emily had short chestnut hair and warm, compassionate eyes. Her presence alone seemed to calm even the most troubled animals. Scout initially approached each session cautiously, eyes alert, muscles tight, but slowly began responding to Emily's gentle encouragement, demonstrating small but meaningful signs of trust. At the therapy sessions, Nathan learned patience, observing carefully as Scout navigated obstacle courses and quiet social interactions with other rescued dogs. He noticed how Scout hesitated before each step, always checking back at Nathan for silent reassurance. Though Scout never fully relaxed, each week saw slight improvements, bringing Nathan small glimmers of hope. However, beneath Scout's reserved demeanor still lingered a deep, hidden sadness Nathan longed to heal. One bright autumn morning, Nathan decided to take Scout for a peaceful day trip to Willow Lake State Park, a beautiful area known for its gentle trails and serene lakeside scenery. The park was busy, but not crowded, families laughing and children playing, the golden leaves of oak trees gently swaying in the breeze. Scout walked quietly by Nathan's side, ears perked, his attention sharp but steady. As they moved along the quiet lakeside path, Scout suddenly stopped, his ears swiveling forward, body rigid with alertness. Nathan followed his gaze and saw a small boy, around 7 years old, named Lucas Henderson. Lucas had bright blonde curls and wore a blue jacket, his eyes wide with confusion as he stood precariously close to the rocky edge of the water, apparently having wandered away from his distracted parents. Before Nathan could fully react, Scout broke away with sudden urgency, moving swiftly toward Lucas. Nathan watched anxiously, heart pounding as he realized Lucas was dangerously close to slipping off the slick rocks into deeper water. Just as the child lost his balance, tumbling towards the lake, Scout reached him, grabbing the boy's jacket firmly but gently between his teeth, pulling him safely back onto solid ground. Lucas began crying softly, startled but unharmed, clutching Scout's fur tightly as Nathan hurried to them. Scout stood protectively beside Lucas, eyes bright yet calm, watching Nathan approach with cautious trust. Lucas's parents, Brian and Megan Henderson, rushed over quickly, their faces pale with worry and relief. Brian, tall and lean with glasses, hugged Lucas tightly, repeatedly thanking Nathan and Scout. Megan, with long auburn hair tied back, knelt beside Scout, gently stroking his fur, her eyes filled with tears of gratitude. "Your dog is a hero," she whispered softly, smiling warmly up at Nathan. Scout, still tense but allowing Megan's gentle touch, gazed back at Nathan quietly, the steady calm in his eyes reflecting an inner strength Nathan had never fully seen before. It was a defining moment, marking the first clear demonstration of Scout's courage and loyalty since his rescue, revealing glimpses of the brave, devoted dog Scout had once been. Nathan felt his throat tighten, overcome with pride and affection for Scout, recognizing the profound significance of this event for both of them. That evening, back at their peaceful home, Nathan gently brushed Scout's fur, murmuring softly how proud he was. Scout relaxed gradually beneath his gentle touch, his eyes beginning to close slightly with quiet comfort. Nathan spoke softly. "Today, you reminded me, and yourself, that trust and bravery still live inside you, Scout. We're in this together." Scout responded with a soft sigh, shifting closer to Nathan's steady presence, a silent acknowledgement of their strengthening bond, built through patience, understanding, and today's courageous act. In the quiet moments that followed, Nathan felt his heart lighten, believing more than ever that Scout was beginning to reclaim his trust, not just in Nathan, but also in himself. Their journey together was far from complete, but today had shown them both the powerful promise of healing, hope, and redemption that lay ahead. In the days following the incident at Willow Lake, Scout's act of bravery spread quietly throughout their small town, drawing attention from neighbors who began stopping by to thank Nathan and meet the courageous German Shepherd. Among them was Paul Thompson, a retired firefighter with a strong build, salt and pepper hair, and compassionate brown eyes that carried a lifetime of rescue missions. Paul visited one afternoon, bringing with him a faded newspaper clipping, gently handing it to Nathan as they sat at the kitchen table. The headline read, "Hero Rescue Dog Lost in Devastating Earthquake." Beneath the bold letters was a photograph of a younger, vibrant Scout, standing proudly beside a smiling young firefighter named Jason Riley, his original handler. Nathan felt a chill run down his spine as Paul softly explained the tragedy that had unfolded 2 years earlier. Scout and Jason had bravely ventured into collapsed buildings following a catastrophic earthquake in a neighboring state, rescuing dozens of trapped victims until the final mission ended in disaster. Jason had entered an unstable structure to save a trapped family, and as Scout faithfully waited outside, the building suddenly collapsed, claiming Jason's life. In the chaos, Scout was lost, presumed dead, until fate brought him to Nathan. This revelation hit Nathan deeply, stirring memories he had struggled to bury. Days later, as evening fell, the sound of distant sirens broke the peaceful quiet. Nathan stepped onto his porch and saw black smoke billowing ominously from a home just down the street. He felt his heart accelerate as instincts from his firefighting days surged within him. Without hesitation, Nathan sprinted toward the blaze, Scout trailing behind, alert yet controlled. When Nathan arrived at the burning house, neighbors had gathered anxiously outside, among them a young mother named Sarah Miller, petite and trembling, her brown hair disheveled from panic. Her daughter, 7-year-old Emma, and their Labrador puppy, Toby, were trapped inside. Flames roared fiercely from the windows, heat pressing oppressively outward. Without a second thought, Nathan took a deep breath and entered the smoke-filled doorway, his heart pounding. Inside, visibility was nearly non-existent, thick smoke choking the air. Nathan called desperately, his voice muffled by the roaring flames and crackling wood. Suddenly, Scout surged past him, moving with a certainty and determination Nathan hadn't seen before. Nathan followed closely, trusting Scout's keen senses to guide them. Together, they navigated fallen debris and burning timbers until Scout halted abruptly near a small closet, scratching furiously at the door. Nathan pulled open the door swiftly, revealing Emma, curled protectively around Toby, her face streaked with soot and tears. Nathan scooped Emma into his arms, whispering comforting words, while Scout gently nudged Toby to follow. Flames intensified around them, timbers cracking dangerously, but Scout remained steady, his presence reassuring. As they rushed toward safety, Nathan felt heat sear his back, memories of his own devastating loss flooding painfully through him. Outside, cheers erupted as Nathan emerged, with Emma safely cradled against his chest, Scout and Toby close behind. Sarah collapsed into tears of gratitude, embracing her daughter tightly. Emma clung to Nathan, softly whispering, "Thank you," her voice trembling. Scout sat quietly nearby, his fur singed slightly, yet eyes shining with pride and resilience. As the fire crews finally arrived, Nathan sat heavily on the curb, breathing deeply, overwhelmed. Scout approached, resting his head gently on Nathan's knee, a silent acknowledgement passing between them. Nathan stroked Scout's fur softly, realizing in that moment that Scout had not just saved Emma and Toby, he had also pulled Nathan himself from the shadows of grief and guilt that had haunted him for so long. That night, back home, Nathan carefully cleaned Scout's fur, removing ash and soot, murmuring words of praise and gratitude. Scout watched Nathan intently, his gaze calm and trusting. For the first time since his rescue, Nathan felt a true sense of healing beginning to blossom within them both, fueled by Scout's courage and unwavering loyalty. As Nathan drifted off to sleep, Scout lay close by, alert but peaceful, his heart finally opening fully once again, their shared scars now a testament not only to the pain they had survived, but also to the remarkable strength they had found within each other. After the dramatic rescue, the story of Nathan and Scout spread rapidly throughout their quiet community, becoming a beacon of hope and courage. Letters and messages flooded Nathan's mailbox, each filled with gratitude and admiration. People began visiting regularly, bringing smiles, kind words, and even small gifts, wanting simply to meet the brave German Shepherd and his devoted caretaker. Among them was Mayor Laura Bennett, a graceful woman in her late 50s, known for her warm smile and gentle authority. With sincere appreciation, she presented Nathan and Scout with an honorary community service award, declaring them symbols of resilience and heroism. As weeks passed, Nathan noticed something remarkable in Scout. The once withdrawn, cautious dog now walked confidently beside him, tail held proudly, eyes bright with gentle trust. This transformation wasn't limited to Scout alone. Nathan himself felt lighter, the heavy burden of his past finally easing. Inspired by their journey, Nathan envisioned a place dedicated to healing and renewal, a sanctuary where animals and people alike could recover from their deepest wounds together. With encouragement from the community, Nathan established Second Chances, a peaceful therapy center on the outskirts of town. Housed within a renovated old farmhouse painted in soothing shades of blue and white. At its heart was a tranquil garden, blooming with vibrant flowers and shaded by ancient oak trees, offering solace to anyone needing to heal. Emily Carter joined Nathan, becoming the center's veterinary director, her expertise and kindness forming the backbone of the center's therapeutic programs. Together, they created an environment of gentle rehabilitation, pairing rescued animals with survivors of tragedies, carefully nurturing mutual healing. One crisp spring morning, the center officially opened its doors. Friends, neighbors, and visitors gathered warmly, applauding as Nathan, Scout by his side, stepped forward to welcome them. Among the attendees were Emma Miller and her parents, Sarah and Brian, all smiling proudly, their hearts deeply touched by Nathan and Scout's courageous rescue. Nearby stood Lucas Henderson, the Boy Scout had previously saved by the lake, waving cheerfully, his eyes sparkling with joy and gratitude. At Second Chances, Scout flourished as a therapy dog, gently guiding survivors of trauma through their toughest moments. His patient presence comforted wounded veterans, survivors of natural disasters, and children battling anxiety. Each session, Scout's quiet strength, gentle brown eyes, and reassuring touch helped others find courage within themselves. Nathan often observed silently from afar, deeply moved by the transformation Scout inspired. Their bond, once born of shared grief, now blossomed into a powerful force of hope, healing not just themselves but countless others around them. One particular afternoon, Nathan watched as Scout gently comforted a young woman named Hannah Foster, a shy survivor of a recent flood who rarely spoke. Hannah, in her early 20s, with curly brown hair and deep sadness hidden in her blue eyes, tentatively stroked Scout's fur, whispering softly to him as tears streamed quietly down her cheeks. Scout leaned gently against her, patient and steady, absorbing her pain without judgment. Gradually, Hannah's tense shoulders relaxed, her breathing softened, and she lifted her gaze, meeting Nathan's eyes for the first time with genuine hope. In that moment, Nathan understood profoundly the true power of unconditional compassion. Months turned into a peaceful rhythm at Second Chances, filled with quiet victories and profound connections. Scout and Nathan spent their evenings strolling together beneath golden sunsets, reflecting quietly on their incredible journey. Scout now moved with relaxed confidence, playful yet dignified, embodying the spirit of renewal. Nathan felt a gentle gratitude every time Scout nudged him affectionately, each quiet gesture reminding him of how far they'd both come. On a tranquil evening, sitting side by side on the porch steps, Nathan gazed lovingly at Scout. He gently stroked Scout's now glossy coat, whispering softly, "We've come a long way, haven't we, buddy?" Scout looked up, his expressive eyes filled with quiet affection, leaning gently into Nathan's side. Nathan smiled warmly, realizing they had not just survived their past, they had truly begun living again, together, sharing a powerful story of rebirth from their shared ashes. Scout sighed contentedly, laying his head gently across Nathan's lap, eyes slowly closing in peaceful trust. Above them, stars twinkled gently in the velvety night sky, quietly bearing witness to the beautiful truth they had discovered together, that no wound was too deep, no grief too profound to be healed by the quiet power of unwavering love. In the end, life teaches us that love is powerful enough to heal even the deepest wounds, and loyalty can guide us through darkness back into the light. Scout's quiet strength reminded Nathan, and all of us, that second chances truly do exist. If this story touched your heart, please gently join our journey by subscribing, because here, every story is shared with kindness, waiting to connect deeply with you.